All right, problem 138, we are taking a look at a fourth degree polynomial and trying to find all the roots. So we found one factor, which was an x minus 3. And he was going through and then trying to figure out some other ones and could not figure out some other ones. And then they said, well, you should look at the graph. And how does the graph help? Well, if we're looking at the graph here, you can hopefully see that at 3x equals 3, it bounces. That means that the factor of x minus 3 would have to be squared, which means there are two of them in there. So if he already divided this polynomial right here by x minus 3 and got this as the result, since it's squared, you need to divide it again by x minus 3. So I'm going to go through and take the resulting trinomial, this one right here, and divide it again by x minus 3. So if you want to pause it right now and check that out, go ahead and do that. All right, I'm going to run through this one then. So I have an x cubed, so up top I have an x squared. So that's a negative 3x squared. They have to add up to a negative x squared, so I have to have positive 2x squared, which means up top I have plus 2x. That makes this part negative 6x. It adds a negative 7x, so I need to have a negative x here. Makes that a negative 1, positive 3. That matches. It divides evenly. So now my resulting factor is this. So he divided by x minus 3 first, then divided by x minus 3 again, and got this now as the other factor. That is now my quadratic factor. So to complete this problem now, my factors are going to be, give myself a little bit of room here. My factors are going to be x minus 3 times x minus 3 times x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now you could write it as x minus 3 squared times x squared plus 2x minus 1. So now, since this is a double root, I'm going to get x equals 3 with that. But now I need to solve this one with zero product property. So remember, this is equal to 0 if we're solving this for the x-intercepts or the roots. So now I need to take x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0 and do my zero product property. To solve this, I'm going to go and do the quadratic formula. So negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 1 all over 2 times 1. So I have a negative 2 plus or minus square root of 4 plus 4 all over 2, which is negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 8 over 2. Square root of 8, I need to simplify that radical. It is the square root of 4 times the square root of 2, which is 2 square roots of 2. So now, from here, I have negative 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 2 over 2. That can simplify down to negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 2. So those are my two roots from this factor. Negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 2. So now, when I think of my roots, I want all of the roots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have from these two, which is that one squared, I have x equals positive 3. And then from this one, I have negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 2 So those are now my 4 roots. 3 is a double root. I don't have to write it twice, but it's a double root, and then I have 2 of them here with a plus or a minus. You can write them separately or write them together. It does not matter.